Thanks to Buck and Billy Ray for giving me the confidence to try my hand at hand sharpening. Not very good at it yet, but I enjoy the process. Go check out his channel if you're into chainsaws. It's not called the Buck and Billy Ray Experience for nothing. The man is very inspiring. Mushrooms! It's pretty hard to describe. That's a well-equipped pile of mulch. Freshly sharpened blade. This is my first chainsaw ever. Not sure you can qualify as a chainsaw. I mean, it is a chainsaw. It cuts really well. It's very practical, and for stuff like this, works really well. Quick and dirty. Hey folks, welcome back to Dragonfly Projects. Glad to have you here today. So we have a couple seasons here in Eastern Ontario. We have winter, followed by maple syrup season. After that, mosquito season, deer fly season, cricket season, and now we're into ladybug season. So now that the mosquitoes and deer flies are practically gone, it's time to reclaim the trails from Mother Nature, and as you can see some of the storm damage. So today, let's reopen the path so we can enjoy our property to its fullest. And go! You might be wondering why I'm cutting some, at least seemingly perfectly healthy seedlings or little saplings. There's a couple of reasons. If they're overcrowded, they won't survive anyways. The tractor will come through here to get the maple syrup, well, the maple sap I should say. So they will get damaged by the tractor. I'd rather me cut the branches that are in the way and cut them at the proper spot where it forks off of the main stem, so the tree will scar over and simply close up that little scar and continue growing happily. Plus, on the plus side, all the brushes that I piled together in sections makes great habitat for little mammals. I kind of wish I had a brush cutter. This is not very tough. Hopefully we can refurbish the Echo SRM 3000. I think it's going to need a carb kit though. you look at the top of this fir tree, it still has some needles, but as you move down, as we can see, the needles are pretty much all gone. The fun thing about conifers being trees that don't lose their needles in the fall and winter, is when a branch basically has a negative energy draw on the tree will simply stop using it, stop feeding it. For example, main trunk, some fuel is going up, feeding the branches. If the branch has needles, it does photosynthesis, which gives energy to the tree. If it does not, it's costing the tree energy to keep it alive, but it's not producing enough energy to offset that cost. So what does the tree do? It shuts the door and doesn't feed the branch anymore and moves on, which is what's happening here. Is this fir is underneath all the leaf foliage, so it's not getting a lot of sun. So as we can see, these branches, this is dry because it's dead, because the tree basically abandoned this branch and kept going up to try and get some sunlight. Now this tree is probably not going to survive much because, as you saw at the top, there's not a lot of needles left, so not a lot of branches that are actively helping the tree survive. And then we have this lovely little white pine that's growing, and it's basically going to take the place of this fir tree. But I'm going to leave this white pine alone, but it's eventually going to go dormant during the winter to save its reserves for next growing season. We're now early September, so the growing season is almost done for this region. So yeah, cool. So I'll leave this one alone. There's a nice little one behind it too. I don't know how well they'll fare, but I'll give them a chance, because white pines are beautiful, they make massive trees, and they're worth keeping. Here is an example of what I was talking about. This here is a white pine with codominant trunks, meaning it's split. Not a lot of branches with needles at the bottom. Most of them look dead. But if you start looking up, you can see that as you get to the top of the tree, it looks very garny, very healthy, and very happy. This looks like birch, which is not a desirable tree. There's one over there that fell. It's covered in mushrooms, so chances are this might also be affected. It's leaning. It's not very stable in solid wood. Plus it's overhanging the trail, so I'll just cut it right away and get over with. So at least I know that it won't cause any damages. Sugar maple, nice. I'm happy to see a lot of new young sugar maples. That's awesome. Wants to go that way. It's kind of stuck on the other one. I made my notch, instead of this way, I want it to go this way for more control, and there's more room there. See if it works. Wow, that worked really well. Plus, as we saw, the other tree that was leaning on it was already dead, so it just came with it. So basically, that tree was holding it up. This little trick, because if I cut the other way, as soon as I did my face cut, so that wedge cut, the tree wants to go because it's leaning that way. So I don't have much control over it. Sorry, I'm out of breath. Woo! This saw might be overkill, but holy moly. This thing works well. And since the tune-up I did on the auto-tune saw, this thing runs like a dream. I'm so satisfied with this. So I was saying, if I do my face cut in the direction of the lean, as soon as I cut, it's gone. Because it wants to go that way. Plus there was weight on top of it. I did my angle, my face cut, more sideways to the tree. So the weight of the tree didn't want to carry it that way when I do my face cut. So I have more control over it when I'm cutting. And I learned this by watching Buck and Billy Ray video. He knows a lot of stuff about chainsaws and logging and bringing down trees, and it's very interesting. I learned a lot. And then because I have a long bar, I can stand up and buck and don't have to bend over. I gotta say, I'm impressed with little Cub Cadet because I'm asking it to do things it's not meant to do. Tree stumps everywhere. I didn't read the instructions, but that's how it works, right? Buy a rural property, they said. They'll get you in shape, they said. Who said deadlifting was not a functional exercise? Here comes the trailer. Who needs a gym when you got a muscle equipment that's not meant to be here down a path full of stumps? Look at that spruce. Look at that beautiful shape. That beautiful Christmas tree shape in the wild. I love it. Because why not? If you're wondering why I didn't include this 12-inch DeWalt 20-volt battery chainsaw in that little shootout I did with the Echo and the Husqvarna, it's a very good question. Should have done it. Missed opportunity. if your tool has a kill switch and it won't start right away when it's warm, don't be like me. Just turn off your kill switch. Chainsaw on a pole, so practical. To my right, the white pine forest with lots of damage. That will be for a couple months from now, where I'll bring the chainsaw, the tractor, and we'll try to get as much wood as we can out. To my left, the shorter path. It broke off here and it's snagged here. So now we got to figure out where compression and tension is. So your tree is this way. You always want to cut your compression first. So is your tree going to want to do this or do this when it falls? Whichever way you go, you want to cut the compression first. So let's say my compression's here. When I'm cutting, I want to cut this part first and then come here at the end, because my tree is going to do this as it wants to fall. If I cut from the top first, I'm going to pinch my blade and get stuck. So in this case, close to here, the compression could be under if its weight is resting on the stump there. But over here, if it's not stacked properly, the compression might not be under, it might be over. So in this case, it looks like the tree here wants to fall like this, so compression would be here. And if it's snagged there, the weight's probably taking it down. So that means the compression's probably on top. Watch your tree as you're cutting it. Make sure you have a clear path. So I'm just gonna do some cleanup here to clean it up and make sure I have a clear path. And I'll cut from this side first to bring it down. Another advantage I've realized of having a long bar is if I'm trying to finesse the cut as it's about to release, I don't have to be near the tree because I have reach now. So I can be further away from the tree, safer positioning, and easier exit path. I keep telling Claudia, length does matter. Why settle for 3 feet when I can have 8? Seems like we lost another red maple. Look who's here, guys! Sorry about that. The inspectors showed up, so we walked the path to see everything, and they're satisfied. Now, maybe 20 meters left. There's a giant tree in the way, a giant white pine that broke that we need to cut and move out of the way. Otherwise, we're almost there. I'm gonna leave the red maple there on the ground. I'll come back later for the wood. Saying that I'm happy this is done would be a massive understatement. This was a lot of work. Took about 8 hours over 2 days. I was rained out on the first day. This is actually it's probably more the medium trail, not the small trail after all. The good news is I'm done and now we can use the woods again and the trails. That's awesome. The bad news is this portion was the one least affected by windfall. So I can't wait for the other section. Although the other section is the one with the big lumber, which is the lumber I'll want to reuse. Basically, I'll wait till I have some help. I'll bring the tractor, we'll cut it to length, and then we'll skid all the big logs out to throw them on the pile. The good thing here is that since I'm not reusing this wood, minus that last log that I'll probably be able to use about 20 feet of, is I don't have to put them in nice neat piles that I'm gonna have to move or burn later on. I just throw them in on the side, make some nice habitat for some wildlife. Eventually it'll break down and make some compost and return to the earth. So that's nice. It makes my job a heck of a lot more easy. I am very impressed by this little Cub Cadet. It's doing things that it's not supposed to do. I believe this one is a Lowe's special. So I'm impressed. One-wheel drive, drag this trailer through everything. The only part where I had to deadlift my way through it is because if you go above a stump, the deck, the mowing deck, and its highest setting is 4 inches. So then you're just stuck in between and then the deck keeps hitting. So if I didn't have the deck there, I'd have a lot more clearance. It's okay, it was a nice workout. Obviously, if this thing was 4-wheel drive, or at least if I could log the rear axle, that'd be a lot easier. Log the rear differential so that at least both wheels are spinning. Because sometimes only one wheel was spinning. Well, actually, it's the rear left one that spins. And it was kind of in the air. This one was on the ground, but this one doesn't spin. So if I could have locked the back axle or have a rear differential, then that would have been a lot easier. My fix here held great, worked great. The trailer hitch didn't move at all. Everything's holding well. So far so good. I hope I didn't break it because I don't have the budget to get something bigger. Cub Cadet, if you see this works amazing. I'd more than happily test a bigger machine through my woods for you guys. Send me an email, we'll talk. Otherwise, I hope you folks had a good time. Sometimes I wish I had the brush cutter or a hedge trimmer. Would have made my job a lot easier and a lot faster, but in the end, we got it done with what we had. That chainsaw on a pole, that pole pruner, fantastic tool. Just sometimes it brings you back so it's safer. I don't have to be inside of the wood, inside of the branches, getting, you know, scratching in there. It gives you some distance, keeps it more safe, makes it easier. And the Husqvarna, since the tune-up, is an absolute monster. Love it. It's so efficient. It works so well. The Echo did a great job. Obviously, if I'm bucking or I want some reach, the 28-inch bar is marvelous. But the Echo, I put the 18 back on there. I sharpened it myself. Worked very well. It does its job very well. I'm very happy with it. And of course, I brought the Dual because I didn't want it to be jealous. It works really well. It has its place, and I enjoy using it. The other good thing is sometimes I have to do some weird cuts in the house and it doesn't exhaust any fumes. So for that, it works really well. And I don't know if you saw, when you store it, if you have this saw, you'll know that it drips a lot of oil. Store it like this, on its side like this, and I find it leaks zero oil, which is quite convenient. Otherwise, hope you had some fun. Please like, subscribe, comment down below, let me know. It does help me out a lot when you guys hit that like button and subscribe, and it encourages me to do more content. I like doing this stuff. I have a lot of stuff coming down the pipe. I have a lot of videos filmed already. I just have to edit them and then space them out. Coming soon, and we'll get started on the Christmas tree farm very, very soon, I promise. Otherwise, thank you so much for watching. I'll see you in the next one, folks.